Hello everybody, how's it going? Good to see you all. Sniggles, again, thank you for being here every time, it's very good. Tiny Goblin, Nino. Hope everyone's having a lovely day. Let me know if the audio is good or the music is weird. Between last stream and this, the cats have chewed through, well, one cat specifically has chewed through not one but two headphone cables. So music is coming out of my speakers at the moment, so if there is weird feedback or something, let me know. Otherwise, yeah, let's get started. Not super sure on what I'm doing this week. Got some ideas about some gold bits and some white armor or something. Maybe some sci-fi stuff. So we'll just do some sketching and see where it goes from there. Hope everyone's having a lovely day so far on this Thursday evening. All right. Grunkly, hi. Fernando, greetings to Argentina. Good to have you here. Seems like a quiet night so far. Everyone's probably out. Not out, in playing Overwatch. Probably. Well, I'm glad you could make it live. Always cool. Hopefully the time difference isn't too bad. Certainly better than some. Almost midnight? Yeah, I guess that's, yeah, considerably better than, say, 5 in the morning. Bit of quick masking for background selection. It's only 7:30 here, so not too bad. If I remember right, Sniggles is in Europe somewhere. Five AM. Ooh. Yeah. Well, thanks for turning up as usual. Hope you were doing something interesting with your night rather than just sitting around waiting for this, but... Aha! First thing in the morning. There you go. Yeah, that's how I do it. Much better. Well, better is relative, but... Alright, let's see what we actually want to do here. Orlin, glad you could catch it too, yeah. And people staying up, it's intense. It was very appreciated. And it's very impressive. Well, I'm glad. I hope it is educational, or at least enjoyable then. I'm glad you guys will show up for it. If there's anything specific you want to ask about, go ahead. This is even more so than some of the other streams. Very much just just see where I'm going here. Well, I'd certainly get a lot done if I streamed for 24 hours. So I was streaming all day. Though I may run out of steam at some point. Infeza, hey, how's it going? Oi, get off there! Nope. Get. I don't normally do commissions. You can get in touch if you want. But I do occasionally make exceptions. Speaking of that, I need to actually upload the stuff I did for a sideshow last year. So that was fun. Do I have any advice for choosing color palettes? I have come to it just after a lot of just doing it and sort of seeing what works and what doesn't. A lot of the time I'll be inspired by something that I think has a particularly cool like palette, and even if I like the actual, like a photo or just even someone else's art, and then even if I don't at all do the same sort of, like if it's a photo, I'm not gonna actually draw whatever the photo's of, but just picking up a like a color palette from that. I try and usually be fairly limited, at least a little bit, in my palettes, so don't go. I find like keeping things not letting yourself like go too crazy and keeping it limited can often really help. Like, instead of you choosing like one or two colors, choose something that stands out and just go with that, and even if it's not exactly like you say, oh, I'm using like a purple and yellow sort of color scheme or something. Find ways of like working that into whatever you're painting. James Gurney's done a James Gurney has just recently done like a nice, I think it was gouache painting, just a live paint, like a still life, or not still life I guess, because people just portrait from him in like a diner or something. And he did it entirely in like, it was a purple and then like a yellow and a burnt sienna or something, and white, and it was super nice. But he's got a bunch of videos about that sort of like color selection and limited palette stuff, which is really cool. I'm not sure that was really a great answer, but hey. Well, I mean, for example, for this one, I know I wanted sort of a white gold thing, maybe a bit, but I didn't really have like a background in mind. Initially, I was thinking something a little bit more like that last like paladin thing I did, but I didn't want to be too repetitive, so here we go. Yeah, just do that. Do what James Gurney does, and you'll be fine. Easy, right? Also, in Fezzer, it wouldn't be specific. Just give me a copy of the album, and I'll draw whatever I want. So that, it's funny, because that's almost less helpful. So a little bit like the difference between looking at a blank piece of paper and going, I have to do something, and then having like at least some direction to go in. It's also like not having if someone says, because this is what I've found has happened in the past when I've been like, especially doing stuff for friends, it'll be like, oh hey, we're not in a rush for it, whenever you've got time, and then it would just literally never get done, because I'd be like, oh, I've got time later, I'll get onto it later, it's not in a rush for it, and you just like, it's the worst thing you can say to an artist, basically. And I'm sure that's a bit of a generalization, but if I learned anything in college, it was deadlines get stuff done. And the more productive the closer to the deadline you are, the more productive you'll be. Almost exponentially. You can't deny the other side. Don't wanna die any more than we do. What I'm trying to say is, don't they pray to the same God that we do? Tell me, how does God choose? Whose prayers does he refuse? Who turns the wheel? Who throws the dice on the day after tomorrow? Yeah, a little bit of direction and at least a semi-solid deadline. Mimola cake, hello. From Thailand. You love the way I stylized the human figure. Did I come to it naturally, or were there specific artists I sort of looked at? A little bit of both, probably. It's very much people I love who do it are specifically like Joe Mad, that sort of like super comic booky type thing. I love the way Ashley Wood sort of stretches stuff. What else? Lately I really like Jake Parker's like stylization, though he is a lot more about the way he does robots a lot of the time. I'm trying to think. I really like shit, what's his... The guy behind Brand Studio Press. I've just blanked. Alberto Ruiz. His line work is incredible, and he's like... so that's always really cool to see. You always miss the stream because you're in your office hour. Wow, glad you can make it today. Hope it's everything you ever wanted, being here alive. Symmetry. Yeah, I've got a couple of his sketchbooks, and I think one or two of them have a sketch in the front. It's just so pretty. Fenris not going to sleep. All right. I hope it doesn't. Get. Come back to bite you. Alright, I really should not be focusing so much here on rendering details like that. I should work out what the hell else is going on. This sort of mechanical thing especially, this is the time where it's like, oh hey, those nice looking sort of gestural lines. Now you have to work out how they actually all fit together. Cats, man. Don't even. Yojimbe, hey man. Hello. Cats would say hello, but one of them is contentedly staring out the window at birds, and the other is playing in the bathroom on her own, and I do not feel like distracting them right now because they're being very calm and quiet, unlike earlier this evening. Yeah, Mila seems to have gotten the taste for headphone cables, even more so than usual. I was testing out, because normally she like plays with them a bit and just sort of tugs on them and stuff. But I did a test recording this afternoon just to make sure all the audio was working and everything, and I was listening to it, and suddenly once one headphone the audio cut out. I was like, oh, what happened to the music? I thought it was, and then the whole thing just like cut out, and I looked down and she just bitten straight through. She wasn't even like playing with it for, like, normally if she chews through stuff it takes her a little bit of time, but she just went chomp straight through. No fucking around. Alright, well, see, look, I keep getting distracted. I'm like, ooh, rendering. Stop it. Yep. Delicious headphone cables. Thankfully, the ones she bit through earlier in the week were detachable from the headphones, and the ones they bit through this afternoon, it's just like a little extender thing that connects to the computer that I've used because the headphone jack is too far away. So at least the actual headphones are still working. So small mercies, right? Or something about gift horses. Teeth. Meteor, hi, how's it going? I'm trying not to be so frenetic with my camera movements at the moment. Also, not zooming in too much is good for not rendering, not over-rendering. So it's not entirely working at the moment, but there's something sort of nice about actually moving around on the canvas. What am I listening to? This is current. That was Pucifer. But I have a bit of everything, a whole bunch of crap on my Spotify playlist. Who are my favorite artists? Big question. Yours are Claire Wendling, Glenn Keane, and Tara Whitlatch. Oh, Claire Wendling is incredible. Favorite artists, otherwise, Brahm would be super high up there. Fernando, these are just entirely out of my head. I guess they're, I mean, the big robots, I don't know. Yeah. Nothing specific. Who else? So Brahm, Ashley Wood, of course. I haven't really gotten anything new from him for a while, just because it's all still just more of the same. Thank you very much. But it's still super inspiring, and like his sketches and his paintings are really beautiful. Who else do I like? James Gurney is like huge. Who else? So I'm trying to think of it in like if they put out an art book, would I have to immediately buy it? And that would be like actually speaking of that, names are obviously not my strong point tonight. Shit. Mark Schultz. His stuff is amazing too. And he's actually just started up a Kickstarter for another art book, which I will probably back, even though I am trying to cut down on spending. But yeah, his stuff's amazing. His pencil stuff is just beautiful. How long did it take to do the Welcome to the Arena? That took about 4.5 weeks. And any advice is try and plan out what you're doing fairly well ahead of time. A lot of the time, even for big pieces like that, I tend to sort of just leap into it without planning things well enough, and it usually comes back to bite me in the ass later. Otherwise, not super tips. I would definitely say, like, try and make sure you don't, I mean, I did a little bit in that, over render like everything, like especially background stuff. If you look at that, there's like, the background is fairly loose, even considering there's a lot. 10 minutes per day, yeah. No, unfortunately, I actually did a bit of a chunk of overtime on that too. And that was partly because I just wanted to do more work on it than I'd planned initially. Like, the level of rendering and everything was pretty high. What are you doing, Kitty? Stop. You found a full res version? Oh, nice. It was probably in a media kit or something, I'm sure. Yeah, I think they gave that out at BlizzCon. In the press kits or whatever that they usually do there. As a complete beginner, I want to spend the summer learning to draw. What do I do? How should you effectively spend your time? God. There are probably some amazing books to go through for that sort of thing. God. It seems my tablet is more sensitive. I mean, spending a lot of time drawing can certainly do it. It's not like, and it's not a bad question to ask, to be like, what can I effectively spend that time doing? Like there are ways of spending your time that feels like, oh hey, I'm doing this but not really getting anywhere, but it turns out you're not getting anything. Yeah, I'm sure some people in chat probably have better suggestions than I do for books that would be helpful, because I've never really done a lot of that. I mean, the Intuos isn't like, I don't know if the sensitivity, like, it has however many to like 1,000, just like 1024. Maybe this one's 2048 pressure like levels. But you can just set the sensitivity in the Wacom control panel, and that should, like, I think part of it is just getting used to like pressing really lightly. You couldn't work on a bamboo because it's too small? I've never really played around with them. I've always just had either just a tablet or a Synthi. Learning to draw what you see. Yes. Good advice. It's, yeah, more challenging than you might think. I mean, I still have trouble with that sometimes, like, even when I'm doing studies, it's like, oh, this is the person's feet, and I'll get, and you do, like, my, like, shorthand for, oh, this is what I do feet like, and I'll do that instead of really looking at whatever it is, well, instead of looking at the photo or whatever. So getting out of that habit is super good. Not that it's not good to have shorthand, but you need to know exactly what it is you're breaking down. And a grid like helps you like getting your proportions and like what's the word? Jesus, I am not good with words today. I mean, honestly, starting in a very academic way, especially if you've got a decent, like, book to, like, guide you a little bit, especially, like, Loomis or something like that would be great, probably, is probably a better way to do it. It's certainly a better way to do it than just sitting down and just drawing, like, without having any idea where you're going. I mean, honestly... I feel like it's not done enough. Like, even in my fine art, like, I did a graphic design degree and I did a couple of, like, more fine art classes, but there was very little actual, like, this is physically how you paint stuff. Like, we did some life drawing and things, but yeah, it's honestly really not. Turned off automatic archiving. Because I play music during the stream, it ends up muting most of the streams anyway. And I figured that would... It's easier to just send everybody to YouTube and have it up there. Oh, I guess, yeah, that's not helpful. I mean, I guess I could just turn it on. I'll do that later, yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like it's interesting the way YouTube's done it now. Like, because they used to just either mute it or, like, make you change the music. But now they just basically, like, recognize the music. Obviously, except for in Germany. They basically recognize the music and then either have a link from your video to iTunes or wherever so you can buy the music. Or then they'll if you've got ads on your video, then just, I guess, some of that gets split among the copyright holders of the music you're playing. Which seems like an interesting to it. Potential blocked for potential music? Ugh. Well, I mean, there's nothing you can do about that then, is there? How am I so confident with the brush? I think it's just practicing, not... I think being very deliberate with the brush strokes will make a difference. Like, if you're sitting there going over all your strokes multiple times, everything gets, like, a little muddier. But as you get more comfortable... I mean, like anything, the real answer is just practice. But especially like doing something like this where I know I need to finish it in a couple of hours is great for that, because I'm like, right, I can't spend too long. These brush strokes need to be in the right spot. And so you just get used to doing time drawings or like limited time things, just quick sketches, and trying to get that can really help get your confidence in your individual brush strokes. Spend a week planning your learning process. It's not a bad idea, honestly. I mean, if you find like a book or something that has like a bunch of exercises that you think will be good, that can sort of get you going. The biggest thing also, don't get discouraged if it's feeling like you're not immediately getting there, because trust me, you're not gonna immediately get there, and it's gonna be, even if you know that you're gonna be doing, like, you're improving, there will be slow days, weeks, and try not to get discouraged because it's not instantly working. Because hey, no matter how far you get, you're always gonna have days when it's not working. is there a website for learning about the latest trends and methodologies? Honestly, I mean, alright, I'm not keeping up with things, but these days, yeah, Imagine FX is probably great. I mean, ArtStation's probably the best place to look at current art. Facebook's probably the place where people sort of keep in touch more, but there aren't really forums in the way that there used to be, like concept art and everything. So like I would suggest hanging around ArtStation, because people post work in progress stuff. People post heaps of, that's like the biggest folio site, so people will be posting new art there all the time. So the main problem when flipping things around, pretty sure I've got the light direction just sort of not, I guess we can just pretend it's coming from the top, right? YouTube for video tutorials? Yeah, it's pretty good. Though you have to find, like, a decent source, because it can be really hard just searching for stuff. I know QBrush is, like, trying to be a little bit more like that. Like, it's a little bit Gumroad-y. QBrush and Gumroad are pretty good, probably. Though I guess it depends, like, it's not free, so... So something like ArtStation is great if you just want to sort of keep up on things. The others are good for like actually investing in sort of something specific. But I think both of them do have like free sections. Yeah, you need to have an end goal in mind or something specific you want to learn, because otherwise you just end up like buying everything and then not having it be relevant. See, I didn't even need to answer any questions. Chat's got it covered. Fine. Imagine Effects is definitely good. Like, I used to get that quite a bit. It's good because I'm like, I mean, you still pay for it, but there's like, it's limited. You can't, it's not like you're gonna go on forever, like, just looking at random crap. Like, it's a constrained group of stuff, and it's pretty well curated and everything too. But I haven't really been paying attention to it much these days. I'm sure it's still quite good. You come home and you just have to lay in bed and think about what you're going to be doing tomorrow. Like, that's rough. Yeah, you need to be able to switch off and sort of focus on something else. It's funny, Sammy, our art director, has always honored us young whippersnappers who are either single, though I'm not anymore, obviously, or like without kids or whatever, to be like, you guys, you should be just like making art all the time. Get into the habit of it now, because it's not going to get any easier as you get older and you get a family and you get kids and all that stuff. And I mean this to a certain level, like to each their own. You don't need to always be doing stuff. And that does change, I guess, certainly if you're in a position where you are in an artistic job. Like, I know a couple of guys at work who are basically pretty much entirely like creatively fulfilled in their everyday work, and it's not like they do amazing stuff. It's not like they're like slacking off or anything. But they like spend 8 hours a day at work creating, and like there's not like it's time for other stuff. Drills us on Twitter. Yeah, he's gotten into that. It's good. And I mean, there's got to be a balance. Like, you can't force yourself to always, like every day. I mean, depending, like. Yeah, like I said, I'm doing it at work every day, so even if I don't necessarily get some drawing done after work or something, I don't feel too bad. But even if I, yeah, just a doodle here or there, just keep the juices going. Alright, I'm gonna take a break, gonna go get another drink, and I'll be back to finish this off. Hope you guys are enjoying it. I guess I'll leave it up on screen for now. Just so you can... Oh, maybe not. Yeah, I'll break it so I can edit it for YouTube more easily. Alright, back in a couple of minutes.